allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, guys. Sort of stopped me from picking somebody out and Camp Open leave for us tonight, so we really appreciate it. Good job. All right, we'll move along here. Items to add to the agenda. Does anybody look at the agenda? Do you have anything you'd like to add? If not, I need a motion for approval.
Make that motion.
Got a motion from Mr. Sally. Got a second from Mr. Hood. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. All right, approval of minutes. We had a meeting January the 4th. It was our organization meeting, our first meeting of the year. If y'all had a chance to look at the meeting minutes, got any questions about the minutes?
Motion we approve.
Got a motion from Mr. Sally. Got a second from Mr. Meade. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. All right, approval of claims. We never stop getting these bills coming in, so. Y'all had a chance, got any particular questions of the, any sums amount, any particular item? Costs a lot to run a school system. If y'all don't have any questions, need a motion for approval. Got a motion from Mr. Hood.
I'll second.
Got a second from Mr. Housewright. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. All right. Public comment. Does anyone wish to address the board at this time? We'll move right along. So I'm on the next part is superintendent report. I'm going to hand it over to Mr. First.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. If you haven't noticed when you first came into the auditorium on your right-hand side, you will see on this table some items. The month of February is recognized by the Virginia School Board Association across the Commonwealth as that of being School Board Appreciation Month. And with that, I personally want to say thank you for what you do for our students here in Scott County. We also have a certificate here which I want to present to you. And it reads, Virginia School Board Association School Board Appreciation Month, the heart of education, our school board. And with that, I want to present this to our chairman, Mr. David Templeton. Our vice chairman, Mr. Steve Sallin. Ms. Patricia Edwards. And give my exercise tonight. Ms. Latanya Lee. Mr. Bill Housewright. And Mr. Robin Lewis. If you would, please join me in recognizing the school board members with a round of applause. Thank you. We also have two individuals that I'd like to recognize as well, and they are to my right. The week of February 12th through 16th, 2024 is also the week designated as School Board Clerk Appreciation Week. And with that, I want to recognize Kim Henderson, our School Board Clerk, and Sherry Christian, our School Board, she's our Deputy Clerk. And would please join me in congratulating them with a round of applause. Thank you. As we move right along, the next item we have is discussion or approval of the textbook adoption for both world history and world geography. In your package, you will see the breakdown of the cost as well as the recommendation of the committee, and that being with geography, it's entitled World Cultures and Geography Survey, and for world history, it's the National Geographic World History Voyages of Exploration. And these are the recommendations of the committee, as well as the cost and the additional supplementary materials that are included into the pricing.
Could you explain to the public why we, what this time?
It was time, the textbooks that we had, of course, as with anything, after a number of years passed, you know, as with new standards that have come about, and as every day history continues to change. And with that, it was felt that this would be the time in which this request was made by the committee to look at the adoption of these two particular textbooks in these subject areas. Does anyone else have any other questions in regards to these textbooks? Hearing none, if it's the will of the board, I'd ask you to approve on the recommendation of these books that are presented to you for both world geography and as world history. We can do those together. You can? Yes.
I'll make a motion for approval. I've got a motion from me, got a second from Mr. Hood. All in favor? Opposed?
No.
Motion carried.
Thank you. It's 5-1. The next item we had some changes within the expenditure end of the school operating budget, which was approved on December 5th of 2023. I had erroneously put an amount that I have corrected as it relates to the Virginia local disability program. And again, this particular program only applies to employees hired after January 1st, 2014. The percentage, as I had listed, was 0.33%, which in fact it should have been 0.47%. And so again, that was my mistake in that regard. The bottom line revenue amount did not change. I did have to make some adjustments because of that error, but also made some expenditure adjustments within this on the expenditure end of the school operating budget. We have hired some folks that were not included in the December amended budget. So we're looking at this second amendment of the expenditure. Does anyone have any particular questions in regards to these changes? They are highlighted. You can see what was approved on December 5th as to the changes that I am recommending to be made. Again, the bottom line amount did not change.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Sally.
Got a motion from Mr. Sally. Got a second from Mr. Hood. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you. The next item we have, and you have a copy of committee members who serve on this particular committee. It's the insurance committee. I dare say that this is the worst committee that an individual can serve on. And the reason I say that is because it affects the lives of individuals. And when those changes are made, the committee members will hear it. But it is a good committee in that aspect, because what changes are being made is for the betterment, not of it as individuals, but as a group as a whole. And we have two board members, Mr. McConnell, who is no longer with us. He was a board member that served the term of his, while being on the school board, of 4 years. Mr. Hood had previously served on a yearly basis. So I have two openings. One member to serve for the duration of their term, 4 years, and one on a yearly basis. So I'm going to ask, do we have any volunteers to serve on this committee? Thank you, Mr. Hood. Mr. Hood has volunteered to serve as for the duration of his term, 4 years. We will need to, is there anyone else who would like?
Got a motion from me, got a second from Mr. Housewright. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Mr. Hood.
Thank you, Mr. Hood. Now we need a board member, school board member, to serve on a yearly basis. Mr. Hood can't serve both, so do we have a volunteer?
Can you give them some information on how often they meet, what it involves?
We usually meet about at least every other quarter, if not needed, throughout the year on a 4-month basis, if not sooner, depending on the time of the year and what particular changes or issues that may come up. It is not a committee that will meet every month. At least quarterly, and at times even more than that, but primarily it's about usually quarterly within the calendar year. And that's how our insurance runs from January 1st to December 31st of the calendar year, not the school year, the calendar year. And so we did go through, back in January, we started all over again. We have a third-party administrator that we did go out to bid to pay the bills. Our vision carrier has changed. Our dental carrier stayed the same. And those who participate have access to Hero Health, which has been a huge benefit to our folks. Our prescription medicines are with Drexy. That has been very good as well for the fund itself. Now, this particular fund, what premiums are collected in terms pays the bills. So the biggest thing in that regard is educating our folks to ask questions. Don't always go on the recommendation of what the doctor is directing to go to placement. Say for an MRI, for example. Sometimes they'll direct you to go to the facility that they in fact belong to, but a lot of times we can get the same procedure done at a cheaper cost, not only to the fund, but to the individual. So you still get the same service. So So again, the education piece of it, getting our folks to understand that there is a cost to this, and they pay for it with the premiums that they pay each and every month. We've been very fortunate, and I have lost count. Jason, do you recall how many years it's been since we have had a premium increase? 8 straight, if not longer. Time slips away from me. It all starts to run together sometimes.
Will we have to have 2 members?
Technically, the bylaws call for 2 members. If there's just 1 member to serve, then the answer is no. I mean, we can continue on with what we do.
I'll serve.
Mr. Sal.
That's for your term. I'll make a motion for Mr. Sally to be on the insurance committee to serve 1 year. And Mr. Hood seconds it. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Mr. Sally.
Next item we have is the Head Start preliminary financial report for December 2023. Unless there's any particular questions in regards to this document, I ask your approval as presented.
I'll make that motion.
A motion from Mr. Housewright, got a second by Ms. Edwards. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried.
And the last item I have is for informational purposes. This is the Head Start Director's Report for January 2024. Does anyone have any questions in regards to this document? Mr. Chairman, members of the board, that's all that I have.
Thank you. Before I go on to the next step, I personally want to appreciate Mr. Smith and Mr. Snow coming tonight and leading us. And that was a good change, and I really appreciate y'all coming tonight. And my understanding, we need to go into a closed meeting.
Yes, I move we enter into closed meeting to discuss candidates for employment and assignment performance of teachers, coaches, cafeteria staff as provided in section 2.2-3711 A1 of the Code of Virginia as amended.
Second. So I got a motion, a second. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. We're going to turn for